Parker Kligerman's Daytona appeal is officially denied. NASCAR 25's career mode looks pretty darn good. And John Hunter Nemechek talks about Denny Hamlin slandering him about his Daytona 500 potential win. Welcome back to the Breaking Bob channel. I hope y'all are doing well as we get closer to Atlanta this weekend. Make sure you're subscribed for all the NASCAR and motorsports news as always here on the channel. Let's jump right into it though, folks, because it was official this afternoon. Parker Kligerman and Henderson Motorsports had their appeal after their win was taken away in the Daytona Truck Series opener. That appeal was denied by NASCAR. Well, not NASCAR, the National Motorsports Appeals Panel, but they uphold the DQ for Kligerman and Henderson Motorsports. Quote, the panel confirms it is more likely than not a rules violation did occur and the disqualification penalties in Rule 10.5.2.4 necessitate a race disqualification. Now, Kligerman was found to have both sides of his rear end on the truck, not himself, too low for NASCAR standards, and was disqualified post-race after winning the Truck Series race. Corey Haim later was given that win, but Henderson Motorsports and Parker Kligerman was a great story. We all knew how this was going to end, though. There was no chance that this appeal was going to get overturned. So, there's the final nail in the coffin. We can finally move past this for, once again, Parker Kligerman getting the short end of the stick by NASCAR. It was announced today as well, Trackhouse Racing extended their partnership with tractor company Kubota. They'll extend that partnership through 2027. That includes 8 primary sponsors for Trackhouse Racers in 2025, 6 for Ross Chastain, 1 race for Daniel Suarez at Texas, and Shane Van Gisbergen will have Kubota on his Xfinity ride at Watkins Glen later in the year. Nice to see Trackhouse retaining some of those sponsors they brought on, as they have been just absolutely exploding into the motorsports world the last few years. And, Ross Chastain getting a win last year in that Kubota ride. 8 primary races is nothing to scoff at either. So big for Trackhouse to get a big company like Kubota back and keeping them for multiple years on this extension. This is not a rumor. We're finally talking NASCAR 25, the video game, because it feels like it's like GTA 6. It's been long lost. iRacing has been developing a NASCAR video game, but the hope is finally on the horizon. And today they put one of their development diaries out, number 3. This one focusing on the career mode for NASCAR 25. Again, it'll focus on all 4 major series from ARCA, Trucks, Xfinity, all the way to Cup Series. You can even probably buy your ride all the way if you want. We'll have ways to manage both your image and your finances, both on and off track. It'll have a lot of different customization, it feels like they're saying. I'm very cautiously optimistic. Dale Jr. has a lot of his fingerprints on this with iRacing as well. Look, it's still months and months out from development, but from what we've heard and from what we've seen, it sounds like we might have a decent NASCAR video game coming for the first time in years, folks. Years. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you want to see from NASCAR 25's career mode? Are you going to be excited to play it? I know I am going to be out there on the midnight release downloading it onto my Xbox. If you missed it on Monday, Denny Hamlin had some interesting comments on his Actions Detrimental podcast. Well, not that every week isn't interesting on that podcast, but he was very, very vendetta-driven, it felt like, after his last lap crash at Daytona, saying that the 500's lost its luster. It's a wreckfest, and, I've got to be honest, Denny Hamlin made a lot of good points, but there was one comment he made that it felt like it was a little unnecessary toward John Hunter Nemechek, where it was kind of me? Who, me? Hamlin said, quote, take the luck out of these prestigious events. Let me ask you this. How do we feel if John Hunter Nemechek was in William Byron's spot? That's not a knock on John Hunter. I think it's just, I believe people would view it differently. Not a knock on John Hunter. Yeah, okay, Denny, if you have to say that in the phrase, probably isn't going to be a very good quote there. Regardless, I understand what he says, but, to throw out a specific example like John Hunter Nemechek, who's in the Toyota family at Legacy Motor Club, who ran a clean race and put himself in position right behind Denny Hamlin late in the race, I just felt a little unnecessary, though. But regardless, John Hunter Nemechek was asked about it this week by Claire B. Lang, and it's a longer clip, but it's about 2 minutes long, but I think you want to listen to how he phrases this because it's a very mature answer.
I mean, I guess I get it from the perspective that I haven't necessarily made a name for myself in the Cup Series yet, but that's what I'm here to do. I'm out on the racetrack. I'm racing as hard as I can. We're up front with Denny at the end. He was pushing me, and our car wasn't super fast to lead the lane, but he stayed committed to me. So in that circumstance, I know that he's pissed about not winning the race. But like I said, I'm here to make a name for myself as well, whether that's winning the Daytona 500 or winning another race throughout the year. Yes, anyone can win at Daytona 500 or any super speedway race, in my opinion. But to second that, I would also say that you have to put yourself in the right position. You have to execute all day as a race car driver. And there are a few guys that are really good at super speedways, and they're the ones that are always up there. For my cup career at Daytona, especially, I finished relatively well in every start. So I'm not really sure why I was the example of that, but from the standpoint of promoting the sport and things of that sort, I guess, like I said, William already has his name established from winning a bunch of races, being a championship contender. And I really haven't had that shot yet in the NASCAR Cup Series. So not really sure what he was thinking or where his head is at with that. Part of me wants to say, screw you, Denny. But at the same time, I also have to earn respect from those guys, and I get that.
Yeah, I think John Hunter Nemechek handled that as well as he could have. Again, for Denny Hamlin just to kind of throw his name out there in the mud randomly, this guy, if he won, how would we react? I get it, like I said earlier. I understand where Denny Hamlin's coming from, but a guy like John Hunter Nemechek also has cut his teeth. He's won a lot of races in the Xfinity and Truck Series, so I don't think it's necessarily the apples to apples comment that Denny Hamlin is trying to make. But regardless, let me know your thoughts about John Hunter Nemechek's comments about Denny Hamlin and vice versa. We're playing telephone here at Breaking Bob. And really quickly before we get out of here, Denny Hamlin has a point about the drafting style tracks. And with that, we're coming up to Atlanta, which is a mini Daytona, a mini Talladega. What do we have to expect for that? Well, if it's anything like the last few years, there's going to be a lot of wrecks on those tight turns. But I think those Penske cars are going to be fast. And will this be the year Austin Cindric finally breaks through at Atlanta? He won one of the stages in the playoff race last year. He's the most consistent next-gen driver on drafting style tracks. So if you're asking me going into the weekend, I think Austin Cindric is the favorite. Now, again, there's going to be multiple drivers that I think have a shot here because at the end of the day, it's kind of a lottery, although it's a little bit more skill-driven than the Daytonas and the Talladegas. But, with Atlanta, I'm very curious to see what the racing looks like 2 weeks into the season. You've got Coda then following, so 3 straight not-so-traditional starts for the NASCAR calendar. Let me know your thoughts down below. We've got Parker Kligerman's Denial NASCAR 25, the new career mode for them. Kubota joining Trackhouse once again for 26, 27, and 25. And John Nemechek and Denny Hamlin kind of going at it in the media a little bit. Make sure you're subscribed if you like what you saw. Make sure you like this video. And here at Breaking Bob, I'll be here for more content all throughout the weekend as NASCAR continues. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you soon.